Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you may be. Welcome to HITEC Television, or HITEC TV as we call it. My name is Alan Young, and I am the Chief Strategist for HospitalityNet. And I'd like to welcome three amazing panelists today representing Oracle, Shiji Americas, and ResortSuite. Tanya Pratt is with Oracle Systems or Oracle Hospitality. She is, and I got to read this, Tanya, I'm sorry, because it's a really long title, but it's a VP of Opera Cloud Strategy and Product Management. With us as well, we have Dan Bell, who's the SVP of Shiji Americas, and then also Frank Pitsikalis, the co-founder or founder, sorry, Frank, of ResortSuite. Welcome, everyone.
Morning, Alan.
Morning, Alan.
Good morning. Tanya, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, giving us a little bit of brief background and Oracle. I'm sure many people know about Oracle, but some insights would be lovely.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, Alan, I love your background. It is home for me as well. Although we've been out in the country the last year since the pandemic hit, but I have been in hospitality my entire career. I essentially grew up in it. It was one of the first career jobs I ever had at a hotel called Delta Chelsea Inn, which is downtown Toronto, 1,500 rooms. Everybody always said, you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. It's kind of like New York. So I spent the first part of my career in hotel operations. So both kind of front office and reservations, then moved into sales and marketing, and then finally distribution and loyalty. And then I pivoted toward technology, which seemed like an unnatural move for somebody that grew up in hotel ops. I think I dreamed of being a general manager when I was in hospitality school. But it was really, I felt, the best way to pay it forward and to really enable the industry that I love, which is provided with the right technologies and tools so people can do their job. I always say that the person I'm trying to please the most is that girl that worked the front desk 26 years ago, because I knew what it was like to kind of be the first line of defense, so to speak, to have the guests in front of you all the time. If you didn't have the right technologies, you just simply could not be successful. And then 2.5 years ago, I joined Oracle Hospitality, which I felt gave me an even bigger platform and an even better ability to impact the industry through sort of bringing in my operational background and focusing on the right tools and technologies we can deliver to our customers. So as you said, everybody knows Oracle Hospitality. We've been in this business for over 40 years, and we provide technologies kind of across the market, independent hotels, global and regional chains, gaming, cruise line, and really our hardware and software is there to enable the customers to do what they need to do, which is support their guests and provide value to all their stakeholders, guests, employees, and their owners. So our focus is really on enabling those business strategies for accelerating innovation or increasing revenue and ultimately lowering the cost of IT. So,
great. Thanks very much, Tanya. I appreciate it. It's awesome. Mr. Pitsikalis, yes. Welcome. Also from Toronto.
That's right. That's right. A lot of Canadians on here. Dan, you're
outnumbered.
Yeah,
we've stacked the deck. We stacked the deck, Dan. Sorry.
Thanks, Al. So my name is Frank Pitsikalis. I'm the founder and CEO of ResortSuite. Really a guest-centric management platform for hospitality, and focused on the entire guest experience. So not just one part of the business, be it property management or food and beverage or spa or golf, but being able to bring together all of those experiences, be it in a multi-vendor world, or as a fully integrated platform. And so we really operate in both ways quite successfully, and that the core focus for us is that guest experience and bringing together partners to enable that experience across all channels, be it online booking, mobile, just the enabling the guest experience to enhance the guest stay, have them spend more, and feel more satisfied with the overall experience. So that's really what our niche is in the industry.
Thanks very much, and that's it's great to see you. I know we haven't seen each other. We say we're going to get together, and I think we can now. So that's a good thing. Dan, welcome to HITEC TV.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Good morning, everybody. Dan Bell, Senior Vice President for Shiji Americas. I'm based out of our Washington, D.C. office and have been with Shiji just over 2 years. I've got overall sales, operations, and customer support responsibilities for the U.S., Latin America, and recently announced, and everybody on the call will be happy to know, Canada. We announced a couple of weeks ago that we're in Canada now, so we're very excited about that. Prior to Shiji, I was with Micros and Oracle Hospitality for over 17 years, where I had leadership roles in the food and beverage division, leisure and entertainment, and hotels. And then versus going back my entire career in the interest of time, Alan, out of college, I worked for NCR for a bit, but suffice it to say, I've spent a couple of decades in the industry doing my best to serve customers. As related to Shiji, we're an IT solution provider to the hotel industry, to food and beverage, to retail, travel and transportation. Over 70 offices and 5,000 employees currently. And as we like to say, we serve guests where consumers eat, sleep, shop, stay, and play. So that's kind of our moniker. And I will say, lastly, just it's great to be on a panel with two people I have known in the industry for quite some time and have a great deal of respect for them, both professionally and personally. So looking forward to the conversation today.
Awesome. Well, okay, so we've got 3 Canadians on the panel, but then I think we also have 3 ex-Micros people, like true ex-Micros, because I was ex-Micros, and so Dan and Tanya. So I don't think Frank played in that pond.
Not yet, Frank.
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. So let's get into some dialogue here. COVID-19 has been an extreme pain. It's been problematic for people around us. We've seen too much heartache. We've seen hospitality at the tip of the spear when it comes to industries being affected by COVID-19. However, we do see a resurgence, even though there is the Delta variant moving around the globe. Tanya, I'm going to start with you. How did COVID affect you, and how has it affected Oracle Hospitality? And what has Oracle Hospitality done in order to ensure that you're incredibly strong and viable moving forward?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I feel like for me, it affected me professionally and personally. On the personal side is I saw longtime industry colleagues, because I was just so recently in the industry itself, literally kind of fall apart around me. People that had been in this industry and in the same roles for 20 years, all of a sudden had nowhere to go. So the impact was swift and it was dramatic. Hotels closed, people were sent home. So I always was sort of like feeling just way too much empathy seeing what was happening around me. And especially, I would say, in Canada, where the lockdown imposed on us was so severe, as both of you and Frank kind of know. So kind of watching it happen from the sidelines was devastating, to be honest. Professionally, we're like, okay, so this is happening. There's nothing that we can do about it, sort of from that perspective, but what can we do from an Oracle Hospitality perspective to help support our customers? So we did sort of a couple of things. One, how do you keep the employees engaged, or what could we do to keep the employees engaged while they are sitting at home? We provided e-learning tools, we provided documentation, we provided opportunities for them to keep up their skill set while they were still at home and not able to perform their jobs. We added new features and functionality that were directly inspired by the pandemic and the fact that people were no longer in the hotel, they had to work remotely. Anybody that's worked in a hotel before knows that it's easy to get information because the person you need to ask is likely 2 feet away. You're leaning over a cubicle, you're passing them in the hallway. How do you effectively do that when you're actually remote and not able to see them? So we very quickly kind of focused on what is important, what information needs to be within technology itself so they can communicate. And then the third one was, how do you get the public to start traveling again? And the best way to do that was to make them feel safe. So again, focus on contactless, touchless technology, direct-to-room opportunities, enabling partners through our integration platform that do offer those applications so they can execute much, much faster. So that was really our focus, was look at all the stakeholders. How do we make every single one of them feel supported and safe about returning to travel again and performing their jobs in a very different way than they ever have had in the past?
Right. makes complete sense. Frank's exact same question for you.
Yeah, no, I think for us, Alan, was first of all just letting our team know that their jobs were safe. We made a commitment that we would, dip into any reserves or what have you, but no one was going to lose their job through COVID. And being a knowledge-based company, obviously, our assets walk in and out of the door every day. So really the support of our team and then their response to that, knowing that, okay, all of this is going on in the world, but we need to continue to innovate and push forward. And we did that for our clients. Also for many of our clients, and some of them had to close for periods of time. We focused on how can we help them as they emerge out of COVID? How can we work together to enhance their experience and make sure that, so we did an offer to work on their digital experience, and they didn't have to pay us until their hotel was again open for at least 30 days. And so we were able to do some amazing work with our clients during that time, that as they reopened and they had staff crises and shortages, they now had technology where they could engage their guests to book their accommodations, book spa, golf, dining, whatever it might be, all in a seamless, easy way. And so, that was really our core focus, is how do we support our clients during this difficult time and ensure our team also felt supported and safe, so that we all went remote, and we're still actually, most of us are operating remotely. But, I'm really proud of our team that continue to push forward, continue to innovate and support our clients.
And how did the pandemic affect you personally, Frank?
It's tough, right? It's tough to see your children go through things like, my son plays hockey and just things that my daughter was doing as well. And all of the kids, to see that they had to do, remote school for a period of time, that was really hard on them. It's just, seeing others go through tough times, either through illness or just how it's affected all of us, is really difficult. But all we can do as leaders is try to lead the way and do the right things, by our teams, by our families, and sometimes knowing that they have that love and support is the most important thing. So it's still not over, but I think we've all shown some really incredible resilience. None of us had expected that it would have lasted this long, but truly inspired by what what I've seen around me as well.
Thanks. Yeah, great point. Dan, same for you. How has COVID affected you personally, and how has Shiji been able to deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, very similar sentiments, that Tanya and Frank shared in terms, from a personal perspective, family and safety of them is, first and foremost to me. We've got 4 kids, and each one of them are in different stages of their lives. And, we want to make sure that they're on a right path, they're safe. Part of why I'm in the office from time to time is we have 4 kids, and it's safer in here than many other places like home. But yeah, from a Shiji perspective, we had a business continuity plan that we put together when the pandemic hit. Employee safety and care was top of the list. With that, we wanted to make sure that we have installers that go out, and it really changed kind of the dynamics of our business. We learned how to do things differently, like Tanya and Frank's company did, I'm sure, as well. That could be a remote installation. Everybody's virtual. How do we use the tools that are available to help us help our customers during these tough times? That said, from an innovation perspective, we did invest and continue to put development into our existing solutions. You spoke to Kevin King, I think, the other day, Alan, and he talked about our Shiji Enterprise platform. That was a lot of time spent on that solution to bring that to market. We had a great release of that program to the HTNG Board of Governors in November. That was well received, and we continue to work through in the release process of that product at this point. And then otherwise, there were many customers out there that did, I would say, hunker down, invest in technology. I think some of the technologies that we offer were brought forward, things like contactless check-in, check-out, contactless payments, check-in, check-out, and other things along those lines that were brought forward and were really now must-haves versus something that may have been on their priority list, a little bit further down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Frank, has, obviously mobile's incredibly important, even more important today than it was 24 months ago. How is ResortSuite addressing the mobile tsunami and trying to figure out, what the guest is actually looking for and what they're willing to do?
Yeah, great question, Alan. I mean, I think ultimately guests have changed. Through this time over the last 24 months, their expectations have changed. And two things have really happened, right? It's guest expectations are changing. I mean, guests are, the guests that are returning, over the last 24 months have been, ordering groceries to their home. They've been, food delivery, Ubering, all of these things from their mobile device, ordering a Starbucks to get delivered curbside. And for once, they spell your name right and they actually get your order right because it's in your app. It's a favorite, right? And so they don't mishear it in a loud Starbucks. So that, that expectation around I can use my mobile device in everything that I do. And now I get to a hotel. So we have to deal with that expectation. The other thing that's happened is really a staffing crisis, right, in hospitality, and how do we deal with that in terms of being able to still serve these guests at a high level and serve their expectations. So it's you're right, it's almost that perfect storm of expectation from the guest and our ability to deliver a device that they can now check into their hotel stay, get a digital key, use to access facilities, be able to look at their itinerary and add, I can order room service or book a spa treatment or my dinner reservation or a golf tee time, just really being able to manage everything without having to spend 45 minutes on the phone where, they may not have the staffing to support that. So our ability to now deliver a mobile experience that allows a guest to access everything that a hotel has to offer, be able to chat with guest services, make a request for more towels or report an issue in their room and have it go to the right people and then monitor and see, okay, someone's on their way to fix my shower or whatever it might be. I mean, I think that is the key. I can shake my phone and bring up a barcode where I can now charge to my room or charge to my member account. It's just that ease of experience that's just natural, but automation now is critically important. Instead of having all of these silos and complex interfaces, being able to deliver that experience over a mobile device. I mean, if you think about it, kiosks and iPads in the room, I mean, that's going to go the way of the dodo bird. I mean, a guest is coming into your hotel with a computer in their pocket. They would rather not touch a kiosk that 1,000 other people have touched today. I'd rather just use my mobile device to manage my experience.
Right. Dan, Dan, I saw you snicker. What was that about?
Yeah, well, I've got a brother in the industry in Atlanta, and what Frank said kind of resonated with me. And he runs a restaurant, and they have a labor challenge in the restaurant. And I think for hotels and restaurants alike, and with the labor shortage coming into it, it's difficult. And there's been a lot said, I think, about serving guests during the pandemic and catering to them, but there's significantly high levels of stress on the employees that are there and serving guests, and it's that's one of the things that I think we all collectively need to try to do as an industry is to how can we de-stress them? How can we help them do their jobs to serve the guests? It's very limited on their part, and then just otherwise from Frank hit some good points on mobility. It really gives the hotels operationally choices. Either the guests can drive their journey or put something in the hands of the employees that I often think about. My parents traveling, they don't use the technology, so give the hotels that choice of serving them as well. But I think at the end of the day, it's really, how can we as frictionlessly as possible serve the guests with technology, give the employees the tools to serve those guests and give them a great stay.
Tanya, does Oracle have a mobile first kind of viewpoint today?
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to comment on what Dan said about offering choices. Mm-hmm. I absolutely believe in that as well. It's not about saying this is how, the guest needs to interact with the hotel. It's about offering the guest those choices. I think that is something that we as an industry strive to do, which is offer the personalized service. And we can do that through mobile or how direct. The other thing that keeps me up at night, to be honest, is that when you automate everything and make it kind of contactless, how do you still retain humanity essentially within hospitality? Because I think that is something, to me, the best part of the industry. And especially if we think about, let's say, the luxury segment of hotels and those that forming emotional connections with the customers, which is what they strive to do. How do you do that if you never see the person? So really the focus for us is to try to do the best of both. Still provide contactless, touchless mobility for the guest and the employee, while still retaining the opportunity to deliver the service the way that the guest wants it. At our end, we absolutely think and make decisions and behave digital and mobile first. But for us, our focus is on the employee. On the guest side, it's about enabling the partner community and giving them a way to interact with our technologies or integrate with our property management system and offer those direct-to-guest technologies themselves. Our focus being primarily on the employee. It's again, how do you untether somebody from the front desk? Because the front desk is no longer the place where the guest wants to interact with them. Perhaps they want to be checked in the safety and comfort of their guest room, or they are part of a group and want to be on the convention floor. So really sort of offering the employee those opportunities to interact with the guests wherever they want, however they want, has been our focus. And frankly, from an industry perspective, mobility is not a new talking point. Mm-hmm. It's always been like, we need to go do digital first, we need to do mobile first, but it's like, oh, I have money, I need to spend money on something else. There's always been those other priorities. We now don't have that choice. This has absolutely become paramount. And I think the only way to, again, ensure that the traveling public feels safe about returning to the hotels is to be given those choices and options.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Before we go down the API road, because I know some of you have been alluding to that, I think there's an area that I personally has been frustrating for me for many years. So I've been a member of a loyalty program for a long time, 20 years, give or take, of the same hotel company. I won't name them because I'm not going to make them sound great. So I would walk into a hotel with a certain brand, and there's only two things I want in life when I'm traveling. I want to be away from an elevator just because I hate the noise, and I want to be on a high floor. I like a view. So those are the only two things. Yes, I'm allergic to feathers, but whatever, I can live with it. But invariably, those two things that I want are probably recorded somewhere within my profile, whether it's transmitted over to the property management system in a certain notes field, etc. But invariably, I get on floor 3 right beside the elevator, or they just can't get it right. We were talking about personalization pre-pandemic and how that was going to really reinvigorate our industry and get it right. But do you think we're getting any closer to being able to ensure that what the guest is looking for within their profile is actually adhered to? Or do we still have an issue with there's a front desk person that needs to go ahead and read that field in order to deliver that offering in the way it needs to be delivered? Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there, Alan. Guest profiles and preferences has long been a challenge in the industry. So, I think, we're looking for ways to, be able to accommodate that, whether it's a regional chain of hotels or a global brand, that you're not walking up very much like you. I want to be up high. I want to be away from the elevator. That's pretty much it. But how many times do we check into a hotel and the first question is, have you stayed with us before? Right. So we want to, help our customers avoid that when you stayed there, hundreds of times or whatever it's been, and, build the technology that allows for that guest and their preferences to be tracked. Whether I'm traveling, to Denver here in the U.S. or up to Toronto or overseas somewhere, how can they recognize me the best? And a lot of that's done through, some tools that we've developed within our new platform, but we also work with partners to be able to provide those tools as well.
Okay, Frank, what about you? Because you've got multiple systems, right? You've got a spa system, you've got a property management system, and record keeping can be a drag.
Yeah, and you know, and part of it for us is that guest centric focus, right? And so, I mean, our motto is know your guests. So if we weren't honoring that, then I don't know what our marketing team was really up to. So,
Good
you
point.
know, and I think you know, one thing I want to touch on before that is Tanya brought up a great point around the concern, you know, from technology and making it too automated. But what we've seen is actually the fact that that they have this ability, and there's certain segment of guests that will use mobile technology, other things that they can actually serve themselves, and it frees up the staff to actually be better hosts to Dan's parents, right? So that now if they expect that other type of hospitality, their team is not so stressed. They don't have their head down doing transactional things. Technology can do that. And I think that plays into the whole guest centric side of personalization, because as I book my spa services and book my activities and dinner reservations and everything else, I want the fact that I said in the spa that I have an allergy to nuts to now show up when I'm in the dining room and it pops up an alert to let them know that I have an allergy to nuts and maybe stay away from these 3 menu items. So it's that ability for us to focus on the guest. We've been, as an industry, very room centric. All of the technologies is about revenue managing the room, you know, revenue managing and the distribution around rooms. But what about the rest of the guest stay? And sometimes for some hotels, rooms may actually be, you know, number 2 or 3 in terms of contribution to revenue. It might be F&B and then spa, and then, and, you know, so depending on the type of property, you really have to look at that guest experience and be able to institutionalize the knowledge about that guest and deliver that enhanced guest service. And then that also comes to marketing, you know, marketing to a guest that's a, you know, a non-golfer or you know, a spa experience, you know, making sure that you're tailoring your marketing and your message to be delivered in a very personalized way. Personalization will be the new luxury. So as we can now deliver not just a room reservation, but we can deliver an experience, that's what's going to make the difference and keep guests coming back to that hotel.
Right. Tanya, is this a prominent driving force within Oracle?
Absolutely. I mean, I first want to, again, compliment Frank on what he said about automation of manual tasks and freeing up the employee to interact with the guests. Absolutely paramount. Like, why are people still dealing with paper or, you know, assigning rooms in a manual way? We need to do that. From our perspective, and I think this has always been part of our technology's DNA or Opera's DNA, is profile management. I can absolutely say with confidence and conviction that unless you make something easy for frontline staff to do, they're not going to do it. It's not because they don't want to. It's not because they haven't been trained well. It's simply they're too busy doing other things. And if the technology that they're given is cumbersome, if it's difficult to find that guest information, it doesn't get repeated 100% of the time. So it's about delivering relevant, not everything. We know that there's a lot of information about the guest that frankly is not necessarily useful every time they stay with the guest, that they stayed at that hotel, but it's about disseminating through all the information that's available and pushing forward only the most relevant information for that specific experience at that specific touch point. So whether it's at the time of reservation or a check-in, or if the guest goes to the spa, what does that employee that's interacting with the guest need to know? You know, I talked about my very first job at the Delta Chelsea Inn. We had a loyalty program. The way that we communicated it via Rolodex, believe it or not, there was a Rolodex in the back office where it said, Alan wants a high floor away from the elevator. And it's something that got referenced every time. We've certainly evolved since then. We now actually deliver that information seamlessly and through the property management system. But again, the right information about the right guest at the right touch point to the right employee is the only way to ensure that it gets delivered consistently. Otherwise, there's a break in the experience. I get it in this hotel today. I don't get it in that hotel tomorrow, even though they could be part of the same program or part of the same brand. Right. To ensure consistency is, again, make the information available and easy to consume.
Yeah, it's so important, and you get there by partnering, right? And I think you've all alluded to that previously. And as you know, I was with Open Travel for a number of years trying to wrestle down the many different micro industries within travel to try to communicate more effectively together. And unfortunately, we made that schema way too open. And thus, it almost became the closed travel system because people will use it for point-to-point connectivity. With the advent of the new tech stack that we're involved with, microservices, all of these different things that tech companies can implement, is there now almost a sigh of relief when it says, yes, we can connect to anybody and we can do it quickly, seamlessly, and have it available for the hotel as quickly as they need it? Frank, I'm going to start with you on this.
So to, from the standpoint of just, really creating an ecosystem around the guest profile and around their preferences, right? So I think that, being able to deliver that experience consistently, I think is key. And I think when you're choosing a platform is start with that experience first, right? Don't start picking, vendors and saying, I'm going to pick this for this and this for food and beverage and this for spa or PMS, but then not really thinking through how that then experience will be delivered in a personalized way. So you have to, and again, I'm not saying it's got to be an all or nothing proposition. We work very well with properties that run Opera and Symphony as the point of sale, and then ResortSuite for membership, for spa, for golf. But the key in all cases is that experience and being able to deliver that consistently. So, I think that's the core, of the issue. And if we can share that data between platforms, we have a single guest itinerary integration with Opera and HMS and others where we're sharing profiles, we're sharing itineraries, right, and we're posting. So, I think that's the key, is vendors coming together with a solution that will, deliver an experience consistently every time.
So you don't care if you have to use their API or you have your own APIs, you don't care anymore, as long as the guest, the hotel, and ultimately the guest is going to be satisfied with the service that they deliver.
Yeah, I mean, we have an integration with Opera at one resort, considered #1 by Condé Nast Travelers magazine, and that property, actually, the guests can book their room through Opera, and then behind the scenes, we're doing work to get that profile into ResortSuite so that they can now start to add golf and dining and spa and activities all in sort of one booking flow. And that's unheard of in our industry today, that vendors can actually work together through APIs to now have that data shared so that when I go to the spa, my profile is already there. And my address, and if my address changes in Opera, it's going to synchronize that change to the profile in ResortSuite. So that's the key, is being able to deliver an experience across, different areas of operation, which may have multiple vendors. So, to me, I think APIs is the key to that, but it has to be like you said, when it's too open, then it's open to interpretation and people can use it in all kinds of different ways. So you have to work together as a vendor community to establish, and it might be vendor to vendor that we have to come up and say, well, we're given this very generic API, but what can we do together to create a unified and consistent experience? And that's the kind of work we've been doing.
Tanya, I had the opportunity to speak with Alex Alt a few months ago about the Oracle's vision of openness, and I think it's incredibly important. I think that was also part of the acquisition of Nor1. It just gave Oracle another way to supply exactly what the hotels were looking to deliver to their guests. What's your viewpoint on the open API landscape, and is everybody going to be equal?
Well, first of all, being open is non-negotiable. Right. I often say I wish I was still a customer, because I would love to be able to innovate through this new openness of the different systems and be able to stand in front of general managers and say, look what we can deliver to you from a technology perspective that we never have been in the past. Being closed off, it doesn't do anybody any good these days. It just doesn't. And that is why we sort of made the investment in the integration platform and the open APIs, and we have over 3,000 of them right now. But it's about really creating an opportunity for the entire hospitality community to innovate and move this industry forward. So it's not just about Oracle Hospitality having the latest and greatest and having, amazing imaginative minds that innovate, but it's about enabling the customers and the partners to do the same. So it's essentially crowdsourcing innovation when you think about it. The three of us sort of coming together can do way more than any single stakeholder can on their own.
Right.
So we absolutely believe that it's absolutely about supporting the community, not just, like I said, our customers, but also partners to innovate right along with us. Because when we innovate, what that does for our customers, our joint customers, it allows them to elevate the service that they can deliver to their guests. So to me, it's really just this sort of, big circle and everybody working together as part of the hospitality community to drive this industry forward. And that is really our focus. And that is what we strive to do every single day.
Gotcha. Dan, I know that this is important for you and important for Kevin, but it's a different playing field as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say, the industry's come a long way in terms of, being open and working together. And I think we need to continue to look for ways to do that, in what I'd call a non-prejudiced way. Sometimes we're going to compete, sometimes we're going to cooperate. But I think if we take it from the lens of the customer, the guest and our customers who we're selling to, I think that's going to, make it more clear to everybody and much more transparent. We're going to serve them better. It's going to make us better as vendors, solutions providers to the industry if we can do that. Because, as much as I would like for, every customer to buy all things, Shiji and buy our complete stack, they may have a legacy platform or a solution that they've chosen that works best for them to serve their customers. And then we need to figure out, how can we play in that environment? Do we have a solution that can contribute to that hotel company serving their guests? And I think where we can all do that effectively and working together, I think it's for the good of everybody, including ourselves. We'll do more doing that than trying to be closed off and rigid.
Right. So innovation is key, and Tanya, you hearkened on that, and I think it's so important. So looking to the future, Frank, looking to the future, where do you see the next innovation coming from, and what do you see, ResortSuite focusing on related to the next big thing? Because yes, mobile's there, and we've got to address that. Yes, personalization is there. We got to address that. Shout out to Max Starkoff. If he had his choice, we'd all be robots at this moment in time. Well, that's a little bit heavy-handed. But Frank, what do you see as the next innovation to focus on?
I think it's experiences. We've all been, stuck at home or not being able to travel where we want to. And I think that our ability to allow guests to book experiences where it's not just that head in bed reservation, right? I'm not just going to a limited service hotel. I'd like to book an experience. And so our ability to deliver a package booking experience, not just a la carte, not just I want to add a spa booking and a dinner reservation. And so we've done that. We've made all of those things really easy. But the next thing I think is the package booking experience, not just saying I'm going to stay on a package that includes a spa treatment every day, a round of golf and dinner at one of these three restaurants. But how do we enable that now in the booking journey where I can say, okay, you've now booked our spa getaway package. When would you like your spa treatment? What would you like out of these services? And then at what time? When would you like your round of golf? Here are the three restaurants. Which one on the first night would you like to have dinner at? And enabling that whole booking journey so that it's prompting the guest for all of their entitlements and allowing them to complete them and book them really, really easily. I think, the key here is driving up the spend per guest, and by making it easy in the booking journey for them to not only add their entitlements, make sure that there's actually room to support that package, but also allow them to then add their a la carte additional items, some dynamic packaging, some amenities in their room, whatever it might be, making that really easy. So I think our industry has to evolve to delivering experiences, not just a head in bed reservation.
How about yourself, Tanya? What do you think is the next greatest thing to come down the pipe?
Yeah, I'm with Frank on this one. I absolutely think it's about thinking beyond the room, because the room, and again, it depends on the type for travel or your
The
purpose of
persona.
trip. I
Yeah.
guess it could be something that it's just you're there for 5 minutes or whatnot, but it's really about owning the guest end-to-end travel experience with a brand, a hotel specific travel marketplace in a way. So it's not about sending them somewhere else to be able to book every single part of their guest journey. It's about being able to accommodate that within your own hotel and your own brand. The other thing that I would say we need to focus on is that roles within the industry are starting to blur. So it's no longer about I'm a front desk agent and I need a PMS. I'm a salesperson and I need a sales and catering person. I'm a reservations person and I need a distribution system. They're all starting to kind of mesh into one, and it's about what is the work that I have to perform today. What is the function? So not role, but the function that I need to perform. And for that, it needs to be technologies that allow for do that, that break the silos between these different departments and allow for technologies where somebody can seamlessly move from one action to the other. So previous focus on perhaps something that's best of breed goes away a little bit, and it's about how do all these technologies work together and having a single technology that allows for performance of all these different functions. I really think that is the future. I think I only have this one role and I perform the same task every single day. It's going away for a couple of reasons. One, we know that we have severe labor shortages. So it could be that today you're working front desk, tomorrow you're working sales, the next day you could be working banquets.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have to relearn new technologies or have to interact with 3 different applications. So that to me is sort of our focus for the future, which is creating this sort of internal marketplaces. And the second one is really helping to support what I think is the blurring of roles within the hotels themselves.
Dan, same question. What's Shiji looking towards the future?
Yeah, I mean, totally on board with Frank and Tanya's sentiments. I think the enabler for much of that is, continued movement towards the cloud and getting customers, there so that they can accelerate these changes quickly, offer more solutions, much more quicker. And then the other thing, part of that is for all of the devices, whether it's a guest device or something that we put in the hands of employees, is the security aspect of that. The guests are going to want to make sure that their data is secure while they're staying in the hotels. And are we giving them that comfort level so that they can choose, do I use my own device? And am I okay with checking in at the front desk, using a kiosk, whatever it may be? But give them that comfort level that, them as a guest in the hotel while they're, going through their journey within the hotel, that whatever they're doing in there, they know that their data is safe and secure. Not as sexy as some of the, the application,
Right.
elements of what we do, but equally, if not more important.
Yeah, it's so incredibly true. Everybody's hearing news about hacks and what's going on in our industry, especially at times, which is problematic. It gives our industry a bit of a black eye for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I see all that. I'm a high maintenance traveler. I like things the way I like them, but I also love to talk to people. So Tanya, to your point, automation and digitization is incredibly important, but I still want to talk to people. And if the platforms give them the time in which to chat with me, then so much the better. The older I get, I find I do that more. I think I embarrass my son every single time. I'll talk to complete strangers and he says, "What the heck are you doing?" So, but that's my persona, and that's just me. So I think that's really, really important. So as we close up, I want to give each of you time to give us your last comments, your high-tech pitch per se, and then we'll close this amazing panel. Frank, let's start with you.
Yeah, no, I think this has been a really great discussion. Thank you, Alan, for this opportunity. I just think it's all about enabling the guest experience through, be it through technology or different ways, as you said. And different, some people want to be treated, want that face-to-face service, and making sure that technology is supporting your reservations teams, your the guests to be able to book themselves what they want when they want, and then allowing your staff to be more available and to be better hosts, and not be stressed and have their head down doing transactional stuff. So the more that we can use automation to personalize the experience, to enhance it, to allow guests to spend more and feel better about the overall experience, I think the better we are as an industry, and we continue, and hotels will want to continue to invest in that, because today they're just so bogged down in all the complexity that they can't do things in their experience or make changes to their experience because they're inhibited by technology, and we have to eliminate that. So I think a lot of the things that have been said by everyone on the panel today really rings true about where we're going.
Thanks, appreciate it, and thanks for joining us, Frank. Tanya?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this industry and this future. I really am. I see opportunities that I only could have dreamed of. I would say even a couple of years ago. I really believe that the pandemic had a way to bring us kind of closer together. I really do. I think everybody was collectively fighting to survive, and that bonded us across, competitors and partners and customers and all of that. So I feel much more united than even a couple of years ago. And they may sound really strange, but I think, again, having gone through what we collectively went through the last, I think, 18 months at this point, really had a long-lasting impact where we're all now focused on the same thing, which is get this industry back to where it needs to be, or where it was sort of in the past, and where we want to go in the future, and work collectively together to enable our customers, to enable the guest experience, to do everything that we can to sort of be who we know that we can be as an industry. So I'm really excited and looking forward to the future.
Great, thank you, Tanya, and thanks for coming. Dan, over to you.
Yeah, Alan, thank you once again for having me on. It was great to catch up a little bit with Frank and Tanya. I look forward to seeing you both down in Dallas. Great conversation today. And speaking of HITEC, we very much look forward to being there. Very excited to get back in person, greeting hoteliers, our partners, consultants, the general community in Dallas. It's been a couple of years now, and we're excited about what we'll be presenting and displaying at the event. So excited about that. And to Tanya's point, I think if we can all take the viewpoint, I know we do, it's this panel is very, very passionately speaks about it, but when we can pull together to serve the industry, we're all going to come out stronger, the customers and us as vendors. So once again, thanks for having me, Alan. Appreciate it.
And thanks so very much. And for the Canadians that are watching this and the Canadians that are on the panel, who are hockey fans, go Habs, go. It is the season about to come up. It's
Alan, you just ruined it.
I'm sorry. And Tanya Pratt, Dan Vell, and Frank Pitsikalis, thank you very much for joining me today. Enjoy HITEC.
All right.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.